Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to our session today. As you know that we are pursuing a course on English language, and as we have named it, a comprehensive English language development course for a bright career with Augmatics. So yesterday I initiated this course and we covered nouns. I've also told you, I did tell yesterday that we have divided the course into 4 stages, and we are basically covering the first stage, and we will be covering this first stage for this week and the upcoming week, and eventually we'll move on to the next stages. Right? Let's go through the slides, the beginning slides or the introductory slides once again for your reference. All right. So for those of you who are participating with us for the first time today, I am Mohammed Farhan Bashir, and I am an English language trainer for Augmatics, for pre-Augmatic scribe training, working under the Department of Bangladesh Scribe Operations at Augmatics Bangladesh. Right. All right. So yes, these are the 4 core stages that we have designed and that we will be going through, inshallah. So the first stage is, of course, the primary English grammar. The second stage being the secondary English grammar, the third stage being the intermediate English grammar, and the fourth stage we will be covering corporate English, right? Okay, now yesterday we studied nouns. Yesterday we studied nouns, and today we will be discussing pronouns. But before I go on to, before I start my discussion on pronouns, I would like to do a very brief recap on nouns. All right, let's just see what nouns are in that case, very briefly. So nouns are basically names of people. Nouns are basically names of people, places, animals, things, or ideas, and any name generally, or any name basically is a noun. Some examples are, as shown, President Trump, Bangladesh, cats, laptops, love, etc. These are all nouns, right? Now, how many types of nouns are there? There are generally 8 types of nouns, right? Generally, there are 8 types of nouns, and they are common nouns. They are proper nouns. We have countable nouns. We have uncountable nouns. We have concrete nouns, we have abstract nouns, compound nouns, and of course, collective nouns. Okay, so what are common nouns? Common nouns are generic names for people, places, animals, different things, or ideas, etc. Common nouns are never capitalized unless they begin a sentence or appears in a title. Some common examples of common nouns are as follows, such as man, woman, children, mother, father, brother, sister, cousin, friend. You see, these are all common names for people. We are not specifically taking any specific person's name. Therefore, the way we are addressing them, or the name that we are, the names we are taking to address people in a common manner are, of course, common nouns, right? All right, so cities, rivers, countries, oceans, parks, hospitals, offices, restaurants, etc. Lions, tigers, crocodiles, fish, eagles, cats, dogs, sheep, deers, bears, etc. Love, hate, headache, happiness, sickness, greatness, health, etc. These are all common nouns. Okay. Then we have proper nouns, of course. So proper nouns are specific. They are not generic. Proper nouns are specific names for people, places, animals, different things, ideas, or concepts. Proper nouns are always capitalized no matter where they are put in a sentence. Some common examples are as follows, such as Nelson Mandela, Muhammad Ali, Oprah Winfrey, Anne Frank, etc. Now, Dhaka, San Francisco, London, Paris, Greece, Norway, India, etc. Tom, Jerry, gunpowder, Khartoum, Borak, Jeremy, the Big Bang Theory, World War I, World War II. You see, these are all proper nouns. These are all proper names or given names for people, for places, for animals, for ideas, concepts, events, different things, right? Which is why we're calling them proper nouns, because they're given names. Okay, they're not common names. All right. Then we have countable nouns. Very simple to understand. Countable nouns are those nouns that can be easily counted, right? So some common examples are, of course, men, women, children, grandparents, animals, birds, fish, desks, workstations, concepts, theories, ideas, plans, events, incidents. You see, these are all countable nouns because, of course, you can count these things. You can count people, you can count animals, you can count several things like buildings, cars, and libraries, and classrooms, and schools. See, things that are countable are known as countable nouns. Very easy. Okay, moving forward, we have uncountable nouns. So what are uncountable nouns? Uncountable nouns are exactly the opposites of what countable nouns are, right? So uncountable nouns are the nouns that cannot be counted. They are not individual objects and are always considered singular in number. Some common examples are water, air, sand, sugar, furniture, equipment, stationery, news, information, intelligence, politics. These are all uncountable nouns because you cannot possibly count them. You cannot count politics, you cannot count water, you cannot count news, you cannot count furniture, sugar, sand, air. These are all uncountable items, uncountable objects or elements, right? They're not countable in any sense. Therefore, these are known as uncountable nouns, all right? Okay. Then we have concrete nouns, right? Concrete nouns are nouns that can be easily perceived by all or any of our five senses. Concrete nouns are nouns that can be easily perceived by all or any of our five senses. We can see, touch, hear, smell, and or taste concrete nouns, right? So concrete nouns are those objects or those elements or those things that can be touched, that can be seen, that can be smelled, that can be heard, that can be tasted, right? So some common examples are mobile phones, right? Because phones come in concrete forms. So mobile phones, cars, food, houses, water, laptops, furniture, stationery, light bulb. These things are not inside our heads. These things are visible. These things are touchable. These things are audible. Some of these are edible, as in like you can taste them, you can eat them. These things have scent, so you can smell them, right? Okay. Then abstract nouns. What are abstract nouns? Abstract nouns are, of course, the opposite of what concrete nouns are. The opposite to what abstract nouns are the opposite to what concrete nouns are. So abstract nouns are the nouns that cannot be perceived by any of our five senses. We cannot possibly perceive abstract nouns with our five basic senses. We cannot see them, we cannot touch them, we cannot hear them, we cannot smell them, we cannot taste them as well. You see, why not? Because they do not come in any concrete form. Not in any concrete form, right? Such as, for example, let's take a look at the common examples of abstract nouns. Some common examples are education, lecture, information, news, courage, cowardice, jealousy, stupidity, lethargy, right? So laziness of a person is understandable, but it's not visible in any concrete form, is it? It's not. Courage or bravery of a person is understandable, it's recognizable, it's acknowledgeable, but it's not visible or touchable as if it is a foam, or as if it is a brick, or as if it is something concrete, which is why we call these nouns abstract, because these things are only understandable to our minds. We just understand them by using our minds, by using our brains, our heads. We understand them. We just understand them, but we cannot touch them. We cannot see them in any concrete form. Therefore, these are abstract nouns. Okay. Then we have compound nouns. What are compound nouns here? Compound nouns are nouns made up of two or more words. Each word in a compound noun contributes to the full meaning of the noun. Now, compound nouns can be of three types: open compound nouns, closed compound nouns, and hyphenated compound nouns. You see? So, for example, there are certain nouns or names which have more than one word in it, right? So, for example, dining room or living room or bedroom. You see, these are certain names, emergency unit or emergency room of in a hospital, right? See, these places, these names, they are said at one go, but you say more than one word to take the full name, right? So such names or nouns, as we are calling them here, are known as compound nouns. Now, compound nouns are of three types, as discussed already. So you have the open compound nouns, where basically you separate each word, such as in dining room, dining space room, and then you've got closed compound nouns, of course, where you have more than one word, but the words, for example, you've got two words, but those two words are not separated. They don't have any space between them. They're written together without a space in between, like notebook or bedroom, right? So bedroom, notebook, they don't have any spaces between them, right? And then the third category of compound nouns is, of course, the hyphenated compound nouns. Now, hyphenated compound nouns can have, of course, more than one word, and they do, definitely. And what you do is, instead of separating them with spaces, we put hyphens, right? We separate the words in a hyphenated compound noun with hyphens, such as son-in-law, father-in-law, daughter-in-law, mother-in-law, and then probably long-term, short-term. You see, all these nouns, these hyphenated compound nouns, are hyphenated, right? Okay, I hope I'm clear. If I am not clear enough, please do let me know in the comment section, and I would be more than glad to answer your queries, given you have some. All right? Okay. Then, of course, we have the final category, the final type, the last type of nouns, and these are known as collective nouns. So what do collective nouns do, or what are collective nouns? Collective nouns are the nouns or noun phrases that are used to refer to groups or classes of people or things as individual entities. Some common examples are a flock of birds, a board of directors, a committee, a family, an association, a jury, a panel, office staff, a herd of cattle, a wolf pack, a couple, a pile of books, a collection of artifacts, a fleet of ships, etc. These are all known as collective nouns because these are group nouns, because they refer to groups of people or groups of animals or groups of objects. So you take one name, and with that one name, you're referring to a number of people or a number of animals or a number of objects. Hence, these words are known as collective nouns because they refer to some sort of collection, right? Okay, so for example, if you say, I saw a flock of birds flying in the sky today. Right, so you mean, of course, several birds flying together, but flying together in a group. So you say a flock of birds. You could just say, I saw a flock flying today in the sky. Right? If you say so, people will understand definitely that you're referring to a flock of birds. Even if you were to not say a flock of birds and you were only to say a flock, right? Okay. Then you could say a committee, right? A committee of something, maybe any committee, or a family, right? So in a family, you cannot just have one possible member. One person does not make a family, so you need at least two people to make a family, right? So similarly, these collective nouns are group words where you have more than one person involved and more than one person or animal or object or idea, right? And together, they stand as an individual entity, as a singular entity, as something single, right? As a unit, as a group, and we refer to them individually as well. We don't talk about them separately, but we talk about them individually as well as a singular unit, right? Okay. Now, let's take a look at some sentences with the types of nouns discussed. Number one, common noun. We are going to a restaurant tonight. Here, the word restaurant is bolded, and as you can see, restaurant in this case is a common noun. Why so? That's because you have not taken any specific name. As in, like, you're not referring to any specific restaurant. You're just saying that you want to go to a restaurant tonight, or that you're going to a restaurant tonight. And now that restaurant can be any restaurant, right? So you're going to a restaurant, therefore restaurant is a common noun. However, in the very second example, or the very second sentence, you see that you instead, this time, you're not saying restaurant, but you're naming the very restaurant that you want to go to, or that you're going tonight. So you say, we are going to Burger King tonight. So when you say Burger King, definitely you mean Burger King at Burger King, and you're going to Burger King, which is of course a proper noun because it's the specific name of the restaurant that you're going to. Then you have countable noun. I have 5 books by William Shakespeare. Now in this case, books are countable. You can count how many books you have. So books is a countable noun. I have 5 books by William Shakespeare. Uncountable noun. The water we drank last night wasn't fresh. Here, as you can see, water is uncountable because you cannot possibly count water. It's just uncountable. You may be able to measure it, but you cannot count it. Therefore, water is an uncountable noun. Concrete noun, could you please answer the phone for me? Could you please answer the phone for me? Here, in this case, phone is a concrete noun, right? It's because it comes, phones are in concrete, phones are made in concrete forms. And you can see a phone, you can touch a phone, you can hear a phone ringing, you can possibly, you can use all your 5 basic senses to understand a phone, right? Okay. Abstract noun. The information received needs verification. The information received needs verification. Now here in this case, the word information, the noun information is an abstract noun. Why? Because information doesn't come to you in any concrete form. It's not like a phone, right? So it is something that you understand, something that you recognize, acknowledge inside of your head. You understand it, but you cannot possibly see an information in any concrete form. You cannot possibly see information with your eyes, or you cannot touch it, or you cannot hear it, you cannot taste it, you cannot smell it. Therefore, information is only understood in your mind. And therefore, thus, which is why it is an abstract noun. Okay. Compound noun. My daughter and son-in-law live in the United States. My daughter and son-in-law live in the United States. Here, as you can see, son-in-law is a compound noun. Why? Because you've got 3 words here, right? Son, in, and law. So 3 words put together to make one complete sense, to name one person, right? Therefore, my daughter and son-in-law live in the United States, and here, this compound noun is hyphenated, so this is a hyphenated compound noun. All right. Okay. Finally, we have the eighth type of nouns. Yes, and right. And this 8th type is the collective nouns. So the management has decided to retain all the staff members here. When you say management, you don't mean one person, of course, you mean a group of people, or the people who call the shots in an organization, and people who are responsible for all the staff members working in an organization, right? So the management has decided to retain all the staff members here. Management is a group word, it's a collective noun, and yeah, there you go. All right, I hope this is clear. So now we're going to move into what we're going to learn today, and that is pronouns. Yeah. Okay, so what are pronouns? Pronouns are a subcategory of nouns. They're primarily used to replace nouns. Pronouns replace nouns to not make nouns seem repetitive in sentences. Take a look at the examples below. Adam is an ambitious young man. Adam works hard. Adam is honest and punctual. Adam is always informed and observant. Adam is smart, right? All right, I'll make it even clearer for you. So what are pronouns again? Pronouns are basically they replace nouns in sentences, right? Pronouns are a subcategory of nouns, and they are primarily used to replace nouns. Pronouns replace nouns to not make nouns seem repetitive in sentences. All right, so, if you take a proper noun, for example, you name a person, you take the name of a person, and every time you mention the person, you keep taking the person's name, right? So as you do it, the entire passage or your speech becomes repetitive and it becomes annoying, right? Such as, for example, take a look at the very first example here. Adam is an ambitious young man. Adam is an ambitious young man. Adam works hard. Adam is honest and punctual. Adam is always informed and observant. Adam is smart, right? So every time you mention Adam, every time you have to mention or every time you talk about Adam, You just keep taking his name, and it really doesn't sound nice. It becomes, after a certain point, or at the very second mention, it becomes quite irritating to keep hearing Adam, 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 Adam. So what you do is you don't take his name again and again. Rather, you replace the name with a pronoun, right? Like in the very second example, Adam is an ambitious young man. Adam is an ambitious young man. He works hard. He is honest and punctual. He is always informed and observant. He is smart. Now, note, it really doesn't get irritating or doesn't really sound repetitive if you keep taking the pronoun every time you have to mention Adam or every time you have to talk about Adam, right? But if you keep taking the name, it does get repetitive, and it does sound repetitive, and it does sound irritating or annoying, right? So you only take the first name, you only take the proper name once. And every time you have to mention that person, you take the person's pronoun. You take the noun's corresponding pronoun, okay? Like in here, Adam is an ambitious young man. He works hard. He is honest and punctual. He is always informed and observant. He is smart. All right? Okay. Moving on to the next slide. We'll see how many types of pronouns there are. So how many types of pronouns are there? One can easily find 9 types of pronouns, right? 9 types of pronouns. And this might sound a little scary because you're going to have to remember all these 9 types. Yes, at first go or very first instance, it might sound a little scary, but it is not actually. Once you get to know all of them, you will find that these are really not so difficult to remember or to learn, right? So how many types are there? 9 types. The first type being personal pronouns. Second, demonstrative pronouns. Third, interrogative pronouns. Fourth, relative pronouns. Fifth, indefinite pronouns. Sixth, reflexive pronouns. Seventh, intensive pronouns. Eighth, reciprocal pronouns. And ninth, possessive pronouns, right? Okay. So we will start with the very first type, which is, of course, personal pronouns. I will give you just 1 minute or 30 seconds to read what I have written here on this slide. So as we can see here, personal pronouns are short words that we use as simple substitutes for the proper names, animals, or things. Sometimes sometimes we replace common nouns with personal pronouns as well. Personal pronouns are generally of 2 types: subject personal pronouns and object personal pronouns, right? All right, let's just read this once again. So personal pronouns are short words. Remember this. Personal pronouns are short words that we use as simple substitutes for the proper names of people. For the proper names of people, places, animals, and things. Sometimes we replace common nouns as well with personal pronouns. Now, personal pronouns are generally of 2 types. Try to remember this. We have 2 types of personal pronouns. The first type being subject personal pronouns, and the second type being object personal pronouns. Now, subject personal pronouns, they are the doer of actions, or they take actions, right? Actions come from them. And object personal pronouns are the ones that receive the actions from the subjects, right? Okay, let's take a look at the various subject and object personal pronouns. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they, who. These are all subject personal pronouns. What about the object personal pronouns? Me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them, whom. These are all object personal pronouns. Now you need to remember these. You need to know that I, when I say I mean I, as in like this, is a subject personal pronoun. When I say me is an object personal pronoun. Who is a subject personal pronoun. Whom is an object personal pronoun. Okay? All right. Moving forward to the next slide, we have some sentences with personal pronouns to make our definition more explicable. Now, take a look at the very first example. Subject. So, I would like to pursue a career in the healthcare industry. I would like to pursue a career in the healthcare industry. When I say I mean I am going to do something. So I am the doer of something, right? I would like to pursue a career in the healthcare industry. So here, in this subject, by taking the pronoun I am basically letting you know that I am going to do something, or I intend to do something, or I want to do something. Yeah, I am the subject, as in like I'm the taker of an action or doer of an action, right? I'm not receiving any action. But when I say my grandparents gifted me a laptop on my birthday, here by taking the name or by taking the pronoun me, I mean that I was on the receiving end of some action. And what action did I receive? I received the action of being gifted a laptop on my birthday by my grandparents, right? Okay. The second example. The second example with the personal pronoun you. Now, you, it can be the subject personal pronoun, and it can also be the object personal pronoun. How so? Let's take a look at the examples here. You have spoken so eloquently during the presentation. You have spoken so eloquently during the presentation here. When I say you did something, I mean, of course, you did something, which is, of course, you took an action. You are the doer of an action or the taker of an action. But at the same time, you can also be on the receiving end of something. You can be on the receiving end of an action, and for that time as well, I would use you, right, as the object or as an object personal pronoun. So I lent you my book last week. Have you finished reading it? I lent you my book last week. When I say this, I mean you received some action from me. What action was that? The action of receiving my book, right? So I lent you my book last week, and have you finished reading it? I'm asking you if you're done reading it, right? Okay. Now take a look at the third example. He is so kind and loving towards his wife, children, and parents. He's so kind and loving towards his wife, children, and parents. So in this case, he again is the subject person pronoun, and in this case, he is taking an action, is the doer of an action. What actions is he taking? He is kind. That's a stative action, right? It's a stative verb. He is, which is like is in the sense as the verb, and it's a stative verb. So he is kind and loving towards his wife, children, and his parents, right? All right. And the object version of he is him, which is the management has promoted him to the position of department head. The management has promoted him to the position of department head. Now, in this case, he is not the subject, but him is the object, isn't he? Is the receiver of an action. He received some action from the management, from the subject of this sentence. And in this sentence, the subject is the management. And the management did something to him, or gave an action to him, or bestowed an action to him. And that action was a promotion, right? So he received a promotion from the management, or from the management. Therefore, you don't say he, you say him. So the management has promoted him to the position of department head. The fourth example, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the fourth example. She is the most kind-hearted person I have met so far in my life. She's the most kind-hearted person I've met so far in my life, right? So here again, you're describing an attribute of some person. And in this case, even though she is not actively taking an action, but she is in a stative state, as in like she is in a stage, and you're describing someone's state with the stative verb is, right? With the be verb is. So she is the most kind-hearted person I have met so far in my life. So in this case, she is again a subject person pronoun. Now, let's take a look at the object version of she, which is her. He has gifted her a diamond ring on their anniversary. He has gifted her a diamond ring on their anniversary. Now, in this case, as you can see, she did not do any action, did not take any action, did not do anything, but rather received something, rather received an action from her husband. And that action was receiving a diamond ring. So whenever you're on the receiving end of things, you go with object personal pronouns. But when you are on the giving end of actions, or when you are, taker of actions, doer of actions, you take the subject personal pronouns, right? So, just like you, it, the pronoun it, also functions in the same way, as in it is the subject and the object version of it is also it, right? So it has an aura all around it. Mecca truly is a beautiful city, right? So you're talking about a city, and a city can be referred to with the pronoun it. So you say it has an aura all around it, meaning the city is beautiful. It has beautiful aura, all around it. All right. Now you're basically talking about it, but it in this case is received an action. So you say Sam has taken it to a walk. The dog hasn't gone out for ages. And you're talking about an animal, and we generally refer to animals with the pronoun it, right? So you say she has taken it to a walk. The dog hasn't gone out for ages. In this case, the dog has received some action from its owner, and that action was being taken to a walk. So Sam has taken it to a walk. The dog hasn't gone out for ages. All right? I hope you're clear with this. We're moving on to the next slide. Here we have some more. We is the first person plural. Is the first person plural subject personal pronoun. So we have bought a new car. In this case, we have again taken some action. And what is the object version of this first person plural pronoun? It is us. Our grandparents gave us some really good books last Christmas. Our grandparents gave us some really good books last Christmas. All right. Now, if you're going to talk about you, as in like, you want to talk about multiple people, right? Many people, more than one person. And this is, of course, the second person plural. The second person plural. So this is, in this case, is also like the first person singular. Sorry, the second person singular. So which is you, right? You remains you, even if it is one person, or even if it is even if you're talking about two people. All right, I have a question over here. Someone's begging me to answer his question. Let's see what the question is. So is it necessary to register again for this class? I already registered yesterday, sir. Okay, thank you for asking this question. Well, you see, if you have registered, you must have read the form. And in the form, it's clearly written that you do not have to re-register if you have registered once. So what we need to be is a little more observant about what we do, right? So you don't have questions like this. Okay, it's clearly written in the form that you don't have to re-register or refill the form given you've filled it once. All right? Okay. Okay, now, as I was saying, you are the best batch I have taught. I would like to discuss personal pronouns with you all. In the subject version, of course, you are the doer of some action or the taker of some action. So you are the best batch I have taught. Now, I would like to discuss personal pronouns with you all. In this case, in the object version of the sentence, you is the object and is receiving some action from me, which is, of course, the discussion of personal pronouns, right? Okay. Now, the third person plural, the third person plural personal pronoun is, of course, they. So they scored 3 goals last night. They did some action. So here, they is the subject version, the subject pronoun. And if you are going to talk about the object version of they, it is them. The man distributed sweets among them. So them here received action from the man, received some action from the man, the action of having sweets distributed among them, right? So the man distributed sweets among them. Who has led this project? When you make questions, right, and you want to make a question, you have a question about someone, right? So you say, who has led this project, meaning who has basically led this project or guided through this project, right? So you say who, because of course this is you're talking about one person, and you want to know who has taken some action, right? But if you are going to if you were to question about who received some action, then you would say whom and not who. Whom have you spoken to regarding the issue? Meaning someone you have spoken to, and that other person, that someone has received an action from you, right? The action of you speaking to that person. So therefore, you don't say who, but you say whom. Whom have you spoken to regarding the issue? Okay, I hope I'm clear. Moving forward to the next slide. Now we have demonstrative pronouns. Demonstrative pronouns take the place of nouns or noun phrases that have already been mentioned. Demonstrative pronouns take the place of nouns or noun phrases that have already been mentioned. There are generally 4 demonstrative pronouns: this, that, these, and those, right? So we have 4 demonstrative pronouns, and demonstrative pronouns are basically used to demonstrate, to indicate things, okay? This is used to indicate to singular and nearby objects. That is used to indicate to both singular and plural objects that are distant. These is used to indicate to objects that are plural and nearby. Those is used to indicate to objects that are plural and distant, right? Let me clarify this once again with this picture over here. Take a look at the picture. Do you see what we have here? See, when you want to talk about something singular and it is near to you, you say, and it is near you, you say this, right? If it's far away from you, you say that. However, you can use that for both singular and plural objects, for both singular and plural things, right? But if you're going to indicate towards a singular thing, then you say this. And given, of course, it's near you, so you say this, and then you say that. And if you have multiple things right in front of you and you want to mention them or you want to indicate towards them, so you say these, right? And if some things, as in plural, some things are far away from you and you want to indicate towards them, you say those. Okay? Let's read the sentences here. This is the table on which the instrument of surrender was signed. So you indicate towards a table and you're saying that this is the table. Maybe this table is also near you, right? It's positioned near to where you're standing. All right, so this is the table on which the instrument of surrender was signed. Now you want to talk about a man who is distant from you, so standing somewhere distant from you, right? So you say that man over there has lost over $1 million due to gambling. That man over there has lost over $1 million due to gambling. All right, now you have plural, as in like you have a number of things in front of you and you want to indicate to us that maybe you have a number of puppies right in front of you and to talk about them. You want to talk about this. What do you say? You say, these puppies have been born just a little while ago. These puppies have been born just a little while ago. And now you have a barrel of apples, or you've got some apples, right? And these apples are not near you. These apples are quite distant from you, right? So you say those apples, as in like, since those are distant from you, they're far away from you. You say those apples in the barrel are all rotten. Those apples in the barrel are all rotten. All right? So we have 4 demonstrative pronouns, and they are this, that, these, and those. This, that, these, and those. This we use for singular and nearby things. That we use for both singular and plural things, but they have to be distant from you. These, we use the pronoun these for plural things or for a number of things that are near you, right? They're positioned near to where you are standing. All right. And those we use for plural things, for a number of things or items that are plural, and at the same time, they are distant from you. They're far away from you. Okay? All right. Now we have interrogative pronouns. What are interrogative pronouns? Interrogative pronouns are the pronouns that interrogative pronouns are the pronouns we use to make questions, right? The 4 interrogative pronouns are who, which, what, and whose. Very easy to remember. Who, which, what, and whose. These are the 4 interrogative pronouns we have. Okay? And we use these interrogative pronouns when we want to make questions. Okay? Let's take a look at the examples here. Who wants candies? So you want to know who wants candies, or how many people want candies, right? So you ask who wants candies. What is your name? Which dish would you like to have? Whose phone is this? So who, what, which, whose, these are all interrogative pronouns. You use these pronouns when you want to make some interrogation, when you want to interrogate, right? When you want to make questions. Okay? All right. Relative pronouns. Now, what does a relative pronoun do? A relative pronoun is used to introduce additional information about something already mentioned in a sentence. A relative pronoun is used to introduce additional information about something already mentioned in a sentence. Some common relative pronouns are that, which, what, who, and whom. Remember these, please. Some common relative pronouns are that, which, what, who, and whom. Traditionally, who is used to refer to people, whereas that and which are used to refer to animals or objects, right? Okay, so for example, in a sentence, you've already mentioned something, or you're talking about something, right? And you want to add, you want to add more information about the thing that you have already mentioned, about the subject, about the noun that you have already mentioned. Now, to do so, you need a relative pronoun, as in like to include the additional information. You need a relative pronoun to help you out with this process, right? So let's take a look at the examples over here. The man, right? The man who called earlier didn't leave any message, right? The man who called earlier didn't leave any message. And take a look at this. You basically want to say that the man didn't leave any message, right? But not only that, you want to add more to this. Who is the man that didn't leave any message? The man who called earlier. So in this case, him calling earlier is some information, some additional information that you want to add to this sentence, that you want to include in this sentence. So how do you do so? You do so with the help of a relative pronoun. Why a relative pronoun? Because this pronoun is relating, bringing in more information in this sentence, right? So the man who called earlier, the man who called earlier didn't leave any message. All right. Number two, all the puppies that have been born today will be sent to a vet soon. All the puppies that have been born today will be sent to a vet soon. Here, you want to talk about puppies. Now, the main information is that the puppies will be sent to a vet soon. The puppies will be sent to a vet soon. But not only that, you do want to mention that the puppies have been born today. So in order to do that, to add this additional information, to bring in this additional information, you need a relative pronoun to help you out with the process. So what you do is you do so with the help of a relative pronoun. And in this case, that relative pronoun is that. All the puppies that have been born today will be sent to a vet soon. My car, which is 15 years old, is still as fresh as new. Take a look at this. My car, which is 15 years old, is still as fresh as new. Here, your main information is that your car is still as fresh as new, but not only that, you want to bring in more information, right? So you want to say that the car is 15 years old. How do you do so? You do so with the help of a relative pronoun. So you say, my car, which is 15 years old, is still as fresh as new. So who, which, that, which, what, who, and whom, these are all relative pronouns. Okay? Also remember that we use who to refer to people, right? We use who to refer to people. And we use that and which to refer to animals or other objects. We use that and which to refer to animals or objects. Okay? All right. Then we're going to take a look at what indefinite pronouns are. What are indefinite pronouns? Indefinite pronouns are used to refer to people or objects that do not require specific identification. Some common indefinite pronouns are anyone, everyone, no one, someone, anything, everything, nothing, etc. These are all indefinite pronouns, right? Okay. So indefinite pronouns are used to refer to people or objects that do not require specific identification. Some common indefinite pronouns are anyone, everyone, no one, someone, anything, everything, nothing. So when do we exactly use indefinite pronouns? We use indefinite pronouns when we do not want to be definite about the person or about anything that we are talking about. The person or the object that you're talking about needs no specific identification, right? And you don't want to specify it. It's not that you know about that person and you want to keep the name a secret. No, it's not like that. You're just talking about you talk randomly about anything and you bring in indefinite pronouns to help you do so, right? All right, let's take a look at the examples. Anyone can learn English if he or she has enough determination. In this case, you're not talking about any specific person, right? You're not talking about any specific person. So you just say anyone can learn English if he or she has enough determination, right? Everyone checked in late at the office today due to the storm. Everyone checked in late at the office today due to the storm. No one saw the accused shoplifting, right? No one saw the accused shoplifting. Someone must have tipped the police about the criminal plan. Now, in all these four examples, as you can see, we have used four different indefinite pronouns, and each of them tells you nothing about which person or what object or which person has done anything. So it could be anyone, right? So anyone can learn English. It can be, a random person. It can be your father, your mother, your brother, your sister, your spouse, your children, your friends, your colleagues. Anyone can learn English. So you're not specific about it, right? Now, everyone checked in late at the office today due to the storm. You mean all the people that go to your office, right? But you're not being specific enough about them. So you just say everyone. Everyone checked in late at the office today. If you wanted to be specific, then definitely you would have to take the people who came in late. Yeah, you would have to take their names, right? So everyone checked in late at the office today due to the storm. No one saw the accused shoplifting. No one saw the accused shoplifting. So maybe someone has been accused of shoplifting. Do you know what shoplifting is? It's stealing from a shop. So maybe a person is accused of shoplifting, but no one has actually seen him doing so, right? Okay. Someone must have tipped the police about the criminal plan. Now, this person can be anyone. You don't know which person has done so, but you just know that someone did so. Someone has done so. You just know that someone has done so. So you say someone must have tipped the police about the criminal plan. There was maybe there was some plan to do something criminal, but someone has tipped the police, and the police has been able to stop something bad happening, right? Okay, so these are indefinite pronouns. Now we have reflexive pronouns. What are reflexive pronouns? Reflexive pronouns are used to denote. Reflexive pronouns are used to denote the subject and the object of an action or a verb are the same person or thing. They end in either self or selves. Some common reflexive pronouns are myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, and themselves, right? So reflexive pronouns are used to denote that the subject and the object of an action are the same person or thing. So, in a sentence, you're using a reflexive pronoun to denote that both the doer of the action and the receiver of the action, the giver or doer or taker of the action and the receiver of the action are the same person, right? Let's take a look at the examples here. I was talking to myself. I was talking to myself, right? Meaning I was doing something to myself. I took an action and the taker of the action was me, right? I took the action and the receiver of the action was also me. So in order to explain this better, I say I was talking to myself. Now you must do it yourself. You must do it yourself, right? When you say so, you must do it yourself, you mean that you are the doer of an action and you yourself will be receiving the result of the action. He congratulated himself for his own bravado. He congratulated himself for his own bravado. Now he took an action, the action of congratulating. Now who did he congratulate? He congratulated himself, right? She loves herself too much to do herself any harm, right? So here, this person is taking some action, the action of loving. Now, whom is she loving? She is loving herself. So when you say herself, you mean that, of course, this action that she took is received by herself, right? No one else but herself. I hope I'm clear. If I'm not, please do make your questions. Post your questions in the comment section. Now, what are intensive pronouns? What are intensive pronouns? Now, intensive pronouns are the same as reflexive pronouns. Intensive pronouns are the same as reflexive pronouns, but they are used to add emphasis or intensify the subject in a sentence. Intensive pronouns are the same as reflexive pronouns, but they're used to add emphasis or intensify the subject in a sentence, right? How so? Examples will make this definition clearer. I built this entire house myself. I built this entire house myself. Did you yourself see Gordon stealing? He finished the project all by himself. She does the household chores all by herself. Now, in all these examples, you can see that the subject is emphasized upon, right? As in, when you say, I built this entire house myself, you're emphasizing on something, right? You're intensifying the fact that you built this house. And when you say that I did it myself, you mean you're intensifying or emphasizing on the fact that you took a lot of you took a great deal of hard work to get something done, right? Acha. And the second example, the second sentence, it's a question. You can see that it says, did you yourself see Gordon stealing? Meaning there is some sort of an emphasis, an intensification, and in this question that did you yourself see Gordon stealing, or is it someone else who saw Gordon stealing and you are just complaining it to me, right? So when I say, did you yourself see Gordon stealing? I mean, did you yourself do so, right? Did you yourself see Gordon doing something wrong? He finished the project all by himself. Again, here, in this sentence as well, there is an emphasis, right? There is an intensification on the subject that he himself did something. He finished the project all by himself. Now, she does the household chores all by herself. Again, another emphasis, another intensification on the subject, that the subject herself did or does household chores all by herself, right? Okay, I hope this is clear. Now, reciprocal pronouns. What are reciprocal pronouns? Reciprocal pronouns are used when two or more subjects are acting the same way towards one another. For example, X is talking to Y and Y is talking back to X. So we can say X and Y are talking to each other. There are only two reciprocal pronouns, each other and one another. And take a look at this. Reciprocal pronouns are only of two types. Sorry, not two types. There are only two reciprocal pronouns, and they are each other and one another. And when do we use each other and one another? We do so when we want to mean, or when we want to say that a number of people, maybe two or more, are acting in the same way, towards one another or towards each other. So they're taking the action, and the receiver of the action is the other person. And the other person is taking the same action, whereas the receiver is the other person who has taken the same action to give it to the other person, right? All right, so there is some reciprocity, give and take, but the same thing is being given and the same thing is being received by two or more people, right? Let's take a look at the examples here. Muhammad and Khadija love each other. Peter and Sarah don't like each other. All the five accused were blaming one another. My wife and I often give each other gifts. Now, take a look at these examples. Muhammad and Khadija, they both are loving, right? Muhammad is loving, Khadija is loving. Both are basically doing the same action. But towards whom are they throwing this action? Towards whom are they taking this action? They're taking this very action towards each other, right? So each other is a reciprocal pronoun. Peter and Sarah don't like each other. Peter doesn't like Sarah. Sarah doesn't like Peter, right? So they don't like each other. They're taking the same action of not liking, and this action, the same action, is directed towards each other. Okay, all the five accused were blaming one another, right? There are five people. The five people are all accused of doing something wrong. But what they are doing is they're taking the same action of accusing. And who are they accusing? They're accusing one another, right? Among themselves. This theme of accusation is among themselves. So they're accusing one another. My wife and I often give each other gifts. I gift my wife gifts me, right? All right, so whenever you have two people doing the same thing towards each other, you say each other. But if there are more than two people, then you go with one another. We say one another, all right? Okay, so we have a question here. Thank you for asking this question. Sorry, so I'm not clear about intensive pronouns. I'll be getting back to you on this question, but just let me finish the next two slides and we'll be done with the entire chapter, and then I'll get back to your question now. What are possessive pronouns? Possessive pronouns are used to show possession. Possessive pronouns are used to show possession. There are two types of possessive pronouns: adjective possessive pronouns and absolute possessive pronouns, right? So possessive pronouns are of two types: adjective possessive pronouns and absolute possessive pronouns. Adjective possessive pronouns are my, your, his, her, its, our, and their, right? These are all adjective possessive pronouns. Now, absolute possessive pronouns are mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, and theirs. How do we really understand the differences between these two types? Let's take a look at some examples. Examples make definitions clearer. Now, we put adjective possessive pronouns right before nouns. Always remember this, that adjective possessive pronouns are always put right before nouns because they give out more information about nouns, right? Which is why we call them adjective possessive pronouns. Now, when we will study adjective, we'll know what adjectives are in depth. And for now, just take a look at the examples. This is my book, right? Now, this book is a quality. The quality is that this belongs to me. So I say, this is my book. That is your workstation. It's his car. That is her desk. This is our house. She is their mother. Now, in all these examples, in each of these sentences, you can see that the pronoun, the adjective possessive pronoun, is put right before the noun, right? This is my book. That is your workstation. It's his car. That is her desk. This is our house. She is their mother. All right? Okay. Okay, we've got one more question over here from Sultan Al-Arafat, and he's asking, is there any difference between the usage of each other and one another? Which one is appropriate in which situation? Now, thank you for asking this question. I was just answering this a little while ago, but I will do, however, get back to you on this question. Just give me some more time to finish the two more slides that we have. All right, now, for absolute possessive pronouns, we do not put nouns after them. Absolute possessive pronouns show possession absolutely. So, we don't put nouns after absolute possessive pronouns. Rather, the noun is put before the absolute possessive pronoun, like in these examples. This book is mine. You could say the book, this is my book. Another way of saying the same thing is this book is mine. When you say mine, you mean it is absolutely yours. You show absolute possession by using the absolute possessive pronoun mine. This book is mine. That workstation is yours. That workstation is yours. The car is his. The car is his. That desk is hers. This house is ours. The business is theirs. You see? So mine, yours, his, hers, ours, theirs. All these pronouns are displaying absolute possession. Absolute possession, no question, right? This book is mine. That workstation is yours. The car is his. The desk is hers. And the house is ours. The business is theirs. All right? Then we have the final slide of the presentation today. Final slide of this presentation. Now, you might wonder what an antecedent is, because whenever you go and study pronouns, we often come across this particular word called antecedent. Now, what is an antecedent? When a pronoun replaces a noun, the noun becomes the antecedent of the pronoun. For example, Michael Corleone became the most notorious mob boss in the 1950s. He was more dangerous than his father, Vito Corleone, had ever been, right? Now, in this example above, Michael Corleone is the antecedent to the pronouns he and his, both of which referred to Michael Corleone, right? So we use pronouns to replace nouns, right? So if a noun is replaced by its corresponding pronoun, that noun becomes the antecedent of the pronouns that replace it. Okay? Am I clear? The noun is the antecedent of the pronouns that replace it. Like in this case, Michael Corleone is the antecedent of the pronouns that have replaced it later in the sentence, which are he and his. Okay? So he and his are the pronouns, and the antecedent of these pronouns is the noun, or the proper noun, Michael Corleone. All right? All right, I hope this is clear, and I'm going to get back to the questions over here. Ninza Moni has this question that he hasn't understood what an intensive pronoun is, or he or she is not clear about what intensive pronouns are. All right, we're going to get back to what intensive pronouns are. All right, so once again, what are intensive pronouns? Intensive pronouns are the same as reflexive pronouns, right? Just like in reflexive pronouns, we have myself, yourself, himself, herself, themselves, right? Just like reflexive pronouns, intensive pronouns are those very pronouns as well, but intensive, we use them a little differently, and we call them intensive pronouns. Why? Because we need to intensify them, as in these are used for putting more emphasis, such as, for example, when I say that I built this entire house myself, right? So you see, I did not do an action towards myself. I haven't taken an action, the result of which is mine, right? Or the result of which has been, just a moment, right? Now, I haven't taken an action that was directed towards myself. But in this case, I'm letting you know that I did something, and to put more emphasis on the fact that it was done by me, I am using an intensive pronoun, which in this case is myself. So I say, I built this entire house myself, right? This entire thing was done by myself. Or he finished the project all by himself. He finished the project all by himself. Okay? All right. She does the household chores all by herself. In this case as well, she is doing something. And the fact that she does it, you want to put more emphasis on it, that she herself has done it, or she herself does things, right? So you're putting emphasis on the fact that, yes, it's only her and herself that has done the job. Okay? I hope I'm clear. So you're going to put more emphasis, intensifying the fact that the subject himself or the subject herself has done something. That is the purpose of intensive. That is the function of the operation of intensive pronouns. Okay? Now we get to move into the second question we have here from Sultan Al-Arafat. He has asked, that is there a difference between the usage of each other and one another? Definitely yes. Definitely yes. Over here. So you see, you use each other when you want to talk about two people only, right? And both the people have taken the same action, and that the actions that they're taking are directed towards each other, right? Such as, for example, I want to give you a gift, and you want to give me a gift as well. So we're both taking the same action, right? So what are we doing here? We are gifting each other. I am gifting you something, you are gifting something back to me. So we are taking something, we are doing something for each other. We are gifting each other. But however, if there were three of us, or more than two of us, such as, for example, if there were five of us, and all five of us want to gift one another. So when you have more than two people, you say one another and not each other. So in that case, we would say all five of us are gifting one another. So maybe we are a group of friends and we exchange gifts. So I'm gifting something to a friend. The other friend is gifting something to me. Another friend is gifting something to another friend among the five friends that we are, right? So we say that the five of us are gifting one another and not each other. But if there were only two of us, we would say we gifted each other, or we gift each other. Such as in this example over here, the fourth example, my wife and I often give each other gifts, right? So only two people, so we say each other. If there were more than two people, we would go and say one another. All right? I hope this is clear. We have another question. Israt Jahan Zerin is asking, I have a question from the previous class. Why clouds is a concrete noun? Well, all right. Clouds is a concrete noun because you can see clouds. Remember I told you that things that are visible, that you can see with your eyes, are concrete grammatically, right? They're concrete grammatically. Don't go into their material. It's like, don't go and check what material they're made of, if they're made of concrete or not. That's not the point here. The point is, if something is visible, if something is touchable, if something is audible or edible, is like eatable, right? That very thing is concrete as long as far as grammar goes, right? Which is why clouds are concrete as well. Clouds is a concrete noun. Okay? All right, then I hope all of you have understood what we have discussed today. If not, I will be very glad to answer your questions and your queries. All you need to do is just post your comments, post your questions or queries in the comment section, and I will, inshallah, if you do so, get back to each of you and answer your queries, inshallah. Right? So I hope to see you all tomorrow again, inshallah. And tomorrow we will be discussing articles. Articles is another important chapter. So yeah, until then, everyone, please stay safe and take good care of yourselves. Signing off for today. Thank you. Allah Hafiz. And fi amanillah.